There we go. All right, everybody, welcome to episode 2 of Untamed, Unbroken, the saga of House Tanner. All right, so first off, questions or comments on anybody's character sheets. I know a lot of folks are still kind of getting their characters finished up at the last minute. Anything that I can help with? That's good.
I think the generator gave me everything. I don't think I have anything left to spend. It rolled the intrigue and combat stuff for me.
Okay.
I think we're good here.
All right, so look, Jenny, I'm seeing your note that you swapped out some of your characters fighting. Okay, so she's going to be an archer rather than a melee fighter. Yep, and you changed her flaw to endurance. Okay. She's going to be a little fragile, but you have destiny points, which is your way to escape death in this game.
Okay.
You can use destiny points for a few things. Like you can use them to buff a roll. Like if you just have something important that you want to do and you want to make sure you succeed, you can spend a destiny point on that. But you can also spend them to avoid a fatal end for your character if that happens. And so if you're looking at the books, Ned Stark is a classic example of a character with no destiny points. Right? And poor Rob, who probably had destiny points, but didn't get a chance to spend them, I guess. I don't know.
I'd argue both Sansa and Joffrey spent destiny points to make that go down.
Well, that could be true. All right. Everybody, I sent a note earlier talking about spending money. I know spending money is a kind of old school sort of D&D thing that we tend to not worry about in games like this, but you guys are starting out, and there might be stories to be told from your lack of money at the beginning of your house saga. As the campaign proceeds, this won't be a major plot line, but if we're ever going to tell the story about House Tanner feeling a little impoverished as they try to build their house, we're going to do it at the beginning. So we may as well take that opportunity to maybe tell that story or feel that tension in the game before it's all wiped away by the never-ending treasury of House Frey, which flows into your house like water thanks to Genna Frey Tanner. Anybody have any problems like spending that money and buying their stuff?
No, I actually haven't done it yet.
Okay. If you have any questions, I expect Garrett can help you. You'll have to actually buy your stuff because I don't think Lady Tanner is buying gift horses for everyone in that castle, just her family. But your character is also a hedge knight that's part of the hedge knight's role, is that they're a little impoverished. So, however, you are a servant of Lord Tanner. So if you are doing good service, Lord Tanner would display his generosity by rewarding you with stuff. So elbow your husband if you need more gear. Anybody else? Jenny, I didn't get to spending your starting money.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm going through here and I'm having trouble finding the character sheet. Would it be possible to get that resent to me so I can actually?
Are you talking about like the little? Are you talking about the formal character sheet spreadsheet, the Excel?
Yeah.
Can someone find the link to that for Jenny?
Thank you. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I'm gonna delegate. I can probably help you. Let's see. Okay. Anybody else? Oh, there we go. Di put a link up in the chat.
Okay. Thank you.
So I decided on another flaw, Jason.
Okay, good.
You're not going to believe it, but I'm going to take a flaw in the ability stealth, that I'm obvious.
The reason why this is funny is because Garrett always plays the thief. This is his default character type. Good. Yes, excellent. That will give you 1 destiny point, which you can use. You can hold and save and use when you are defeated in combat. Good. James, were you able to buy your character's gear?
No, I have not done that yet.
Okay. The reason why I wanted to bring it up is because I know that you were using the template character, and those characters in game terms are all insanely rich. So you won't be able to have all the gear that the template has. You won't be as rich as that guy.
Yeah, I'm looking for
but you should have enough to buy the basics. You'll have a bow and a suit of light armor, and you'll be able to cover your basics.
Yeah, how much money do you? How do you determine how much money you start with?
You roll a status roll, which for you is 2 dice.
So you're just going to roll 2 dice and
roll 2 dice. That's how many gold dragons you've got.
Okay.
And so,
yes, Garrett.
Oh, I suck. I have no money.
Well, maybe you lost all of your armor in a tournament.
Apparently.
It's if you can't afford gear, that's a common wager in tournaments, is that if you get in a duel with someone or a joust with someone and you lose, they get your armor.
Well, I lost big.
Okay. How much money do you have?
I rolled an 8 on 3 dice.
Well, eight is not much, but it's enough to buy something. So you won't be naked.
So I roll status, and I have 2 levels of stewardship. So how does that apply?
That does not add to this particular roll.
For anyone who's curious, 1 gold dragon equals 210 silver stags. So it is a little bit more than you think.
Yeah.
How many stags? I'm sorry.
210.
For 1 gold.
And a lot of the price lists are listed in silver stags, so that's a helpful conversion. Garrett, how'd you do?
13.
Okay, pretty close to average.
All right, I got 7.
Yeah.
All right, but don't worry. Your biggest expense was your horse, and your wife and mother bought that for you. So there you go. Jenny, your falcon comes free because you spent benefit to buy your animal cohort. The rest of your gear you can buy on your own. Your status starts off at 2, so you roll 2 dice, and probably your biggest expense will be your crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There we go.
For anyone who's morbidly curious, even after the rain of horse gifts to your mouths, Lady Tanner has 12 gold dragons and some stags left over.
Nice.
She's going to get about 30 gold dragons every month.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the average. And since we're going to pass time fairly consistently in this game, she's going to have a lot of money. So just go to Lady Tanner and ask her for stuff. That's what needs to happen.
At what level are we purchasing? Am I like buying socks and clothes, or
you get like a dagger and clothes for free, but you'll need to buy. Start off with your armor and your sword. Whatever's left over after that, buy some nice clothes.
Okay, so all the prices here are in silver stags, and it's like 200 and some to a gold piece, right?
210.
210. Okay, so it's 210 stags to a gold dragon.
Yep.
All right.
And some of these things that you're buying have ranges. For example, if you want to buy expensive clothing, it can be anywhere from 100 stags to 1,000, depending on how much you want to spend. And this is a testament to your house's wealth and living conditions, right? Like, your clothing becomes conspicuous consumption. So if you can't afford a lot, then you buy the cheap version of rich clothing, and then as you get more wealthy, you can start living above your station.
All right, so
Jenny, we're getting like this sort of clunking. I think it might just be you typing.
Oh, yep, that's probably me.
All right, no problem.
That.
It's okay, but I keep thinking that you want to say something because the camera likes turning on and looking right at you, and I'm like, what? No, it's just me typing. Okay, all right, it's all good. All good. All right. Anybody else? No, we'll just we'll get started.
Okay.
And don't, Jenny, if it's been 10 years since you've played, it's been I haven't run for anybody at this table in years either. So
Okay, so I'll just apologize to everybody in advance. I'm going to be playing catch up in pretty much every single way.
No, you're fine.
For your patience.
I suspect you are not the person who, I mean, like, Deb, when was the last time you played like tabletop?
It's been probably about 2 years, I guess.
Probably.
Even though I have it here every Monday night or every other Monday night, it's still been about 2 years since I've actually played.
Tanner, what about you?
Last time I played was the last time we played.
Wow.
So,
There you go. That's
been years.
That was the Fate space game, right?
Yeah.
2012, 2011.
Sounds about right.
I think I'm the most recent one because I did the one Arthur Lives test with you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. All right. So, Lord Tanner, the house has been invited to a tournament at a nearby house. Now, I'm going to save the big tournament adventure in King's Landing for another night. Tonight, we're just going to do. The adventure is the journey itself.
It's a pre-qualifier.
It is. Yeah, exactly. Yes, it's a pre-qualifying tournament. So for the purposes of our adventure, I'm going to presume that you take a couple of your highly placed retainers along with you. In particular, your Master at Arms, which is Benjermin. Is that his name, Deb?
Yeah.
Benjermin. And Colin, is that right, James? Remind me.
Yeah. Corlin.
Say it again.
Corlin with an R.
Corlin, Benjermin, and now, Jenny, you may have to roll twice on the random name table because you need a cover identity. So the name that you have rolled up can be either your cover or your real name.
Okay, we'll just use this as the cover then.
Okay, so spell it out for me.
Maehna Tarareon.
Say that for me.
Sorry?
Say that for me.
The first name or the last name again?
How would you say it? Like.
Oh, Maehna Tarareon?
Maehna Tarareon. Okay. Let me make sure that I got it right.
Like I said, random name generator.
It's all good. It's all good. All right. So you've taken your Master of the Hunt, which is Corlin, your Master at Arms, Benjermin, and your Master Falconer, which is Maehna, along with you to the tournament. And your son wants to go, and your wife wants to go.
All right.
And that's our group. Is that okay with everybody?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Away.
Okay, away we go. You leave your younger sister, Ivy, in charge of the house while you're gone. I made up a character sheet for her. I'm going to make some changes to it because I don't want her to duplicate as much with Lord Tanner, but she's got some basic stats. And the first leg of your journey is the inn at the Crossroads, which is about a day's ride to the west from your home. If you remember, this is the famous inn that appears in the books and the show fairly prominently. Let me see if I can, yeah. So after a day's travel from Tanner Lands and the town of Tannerton and your keep, your hall, I should say, your hall, as you're approaching the inn, but you're still a short distance from it. There's a regular tournament that circulates around in this area. There's an old legend, and we'll get more into it in another session, but there's an old legend of 7 brothers. And they threw a tournament amongst themselves to determine to replace going to war. And the tournament, as a result, circulates through all of the baronies of this land, of this region, of the Riverlands. And so this is the current version of the tourney of the 7 brothers. And of course, in addition to all of the events of the tournament, such as the jousting and the melee and an archery contest, Corlin, you might have an opportunity to show off your skills at the archery contest in the tournament. Benjermin, you're likely to be fighting in the joust or in the melee as a knight in the tournament. It's also an opportunity for houses to make friends and gather rumor and gossip about each other, to politic and learn about their rivals and intrigues. We are about 13 years into the reign of King Robert Baratheon, first of his name. And we all know the king and his pleasures and his priorities. Let's put it like that. Baratheon is most interested. He's not particularly interested in ruling. He doesn't really like. He doesn't bother himself with the details of running the kingdom. He leaves most of that to his wife, Cersei Lannister, and he would rather spend his days hunting and fighting and drinking and, some say, whoring. That's all to the south, though, in the capital of King's Landing. You guys are the more sedate and proper and civil houses of the Riverlands, where we take care of business and feed the hungry and collect our taxes on tolls and roads and rivers that pass through the land. The land here is rich and fertile. Everything is green. The rivers that go through the Riverlands, the Trident breaks into three branches, and all of that, along with many other streams and rivers that fill this area, means everywhere you go is green. There's crops growing all the time. There's trees and birds are singing, and it's one of the most fertile parts of Westeros. And you also can expect to find some of your lords, your superiors there, including House Tully, to whom you are sworn bannermen. Also, probably Genna. You're likely to see more than one representative of your father or your grandfather there. Not Lord Frey himself, of course. He never leaves the castle, never leaves the twins. But other members of your family, like your parents or any of your many, many, many uncles, aunts, cousins, and nephews. But as you travel for the day, the warm summer day turns dark and drizzly. Rain is a surprise to nobody in the Riverlands, but it does sort of dampen the mood. But you know that the inn is coming up and you're not far from it. Willem, you've been to the inn at the Crossroads probably more than once. Maybe doing a little rubbernecking, looking for the great lords of the kingdom who are known to travel the King's Road.
Yeah, it's a secondary haunt for me. It's a nice,
okay, good.
nice jaunt, but
so you know this road pretty well. Corlin, Lord Tanner, who do you normally assign to guard your son when he goes out traveling by himself?
Well,
hint: one of the PCs. Going to be either your master at arms, Benjermin, or your master of the hunt, Corlin.
Master of arms.
Okay.
All right, the party.
Benjermin, you have often traveled this road with Willem, especially over the last year, as Willem's gotten more of age and is no longer, he's no longer a supervised child like he was a few years ago. Because aren't you like 17 or 16? How old's Willem?
yeah, 17, and in the Game of Thrones universe, that's
You're an adult.
yeah.
Young adult, but an adult. A few years ago, he wouldn't have been able to travel to the end of the Crossroads by himself, but now he can. But he doesn't get to go unescorted or unguarded. Willem, do you have any habits of trying to slip your guard, or do you, you embrace your bodyguard?
I think he might try and bring me back earlier than I would prefer.
Okay.
So there is some cat and mouse that occurs, but I'm usually on the losing end, I think, because by that time I'm pretty much in the bag. So I'm not the most deceptive.
All right. So you guys have traveled that road a few times, and you've played that game a few times. Let's see. How about oh shoot! Just had your character's name. Oh man. So how about Maehna? What do we know about her?
Not a lot, really. She came with good recommendations fairly recently to Tanner Hall, but she's been more than adequate so far.
She's a extraordinarily skilled falconer and trainer of falcons. Lord Tanner, this is one of those things that wealthy lords have. Is a muse, MEWS, a batch of hunting falcons, and hunting is a kind of a prestigious thing to do in Baratheon's kingdom. So whether or not, I don't know what Ricard's stance is towards falconing or hunting in general, but you may have taken her on just because it was, quite frankly, kind of the fashionable thing to do.
Everybody's got one.
Everybody's got one. Exactly. But she's really good.
New version.
Genna, any interest in falcons from the lady of the house?
More, a distant curiosity, but being kind of naive and sheltered and very indoorsy, she kind of admires from afar. She might even be a little afraid of it.
Sure, yeah. Does Willem have hunt?
He likes horses. I mean, I think likes to ride them sportingly. And would certainly respect falconry, the grace, the power, the beauty of it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably the person that Maehna knows best, and even then, that's probably not that knows Maehna best, and that might not be much. Is probably Corlin. Corlin is master of the hunt. I mean, this is what falcons are for. Falcons are for hunting.
Yep.
And so the two of you may have. You probably know each other as a working relationship. Corlin has the hunt ability, I think.
The hunt ability?
Do you have that hunt?
No, I have the hunting sub skill of survival.
Oh, it's okay. That's okay. So thank you for correcting me. So it's a specialization of survival.
Yes, I have the hunting and tracking specializations of survival.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you and Maehna, work in the same part of the hall. And when a member of the royal family, the house, wants to go out hunting, it's one or both of you that go with them, depending on what they want to do.
Now,
I'm sorry, Corlin.
Would Corlin have known Maehna? I'm trying to think of the timelines.
That's a very good question. That's a good question. So, Maehna, Corlin was a friend of Ricard, your husband, back when he was a vassal, when he was a young hedge knight. In other words, you guys are the same age, and your first husband, your husband Ricard, hung out with Corlin back when you were married.
Mm-hmm.
So he's another one of the people that would be likely to catch you, right? To spot you.
Hypothetically,
yeah.
Quite frankly, I haven't aged well. That's what it comes to. I'm also marked, so there's a severe facial scarring from something. Corlin hasn't asked about it. It's too much of a gentleman. But that, on top of the fact that everybody knows that the First Lady Tanner is dead, makes me feel comfortable, at least, working around him.
Corlin, she's got like this really kind of hideous facial scarring. And it's one of those things that people just try not to look at her face because of it. And so even when you're around her and you have to talk to her, you kind of like don't look at her face.
Okay. So, all right. So she was Ricard's first wife.
That's correct. And this was 16 years ago, right?
It's been 16 years.
17 years ago. So yeah.
Okay. But I would have known her.
Yes.
At least a little bit.
Yes. In fact, you might have even known her well.
Yeah.
But as we know, like when
it's been 16 years and she doesn't look anything like she used to look.
Yeah. It's really
okay.
17 years can do a lot to a person.
Oh yeah.
And nobody's looking for me because I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly.
The biggest kind of familiar, but not quite really know where you look like.
The biggest risk actually is your voice. Your voice changes less than your appearance does. So she may just not talk a lot, or she may have adopted a voice. She may do the Christian Bale Batman thing.
And subtle mannerisms could give her away too.
Yeah. Well, like every other disguised character, and believe it or not, Mary, you're not the only one, because Benjermin is actually a woman. Like every disguised character, it is inevitable your disguise will be revealed. That this is a given. The question is how long will it take, and under what circumstances will it happen? Right? Like that's what we're really milking. We're milking the tension. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
One thing I'd built into my character, and we can either use this or not, was that he has red hair, which is inherited from his mother. Okay. I don't know if we want to keep that, and Maehna has changed it or whatever, because that would be a big giveaway since it's fairly rare.
I imagine I've dyed mine a much darker color at that point.
Yeah.
Which would help much with us, especially me not noticing her.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I would have known her, but her hair's different. She's not a redhead.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't look anything. She's dressed differently. I probably look like an older version of what you remember me looking like before. A little bit, I'm missing like a little bit off of the tip of one of my fingers. I've got a couple of scars here and there on my body and stuff like that. I'm a little bit more grizzled.
Normal Master of Arms wear and tear.
Yeah. Well, I'm the Hunts Master. I'm not some highfalutin person.
Corlin, think about Corlin, but Corlin and Maehna, think about what your relationship was before Maehna, quote unquote, died. The classic thing to do here, if you really wanted to do it, to make things even more complicated, would be to steal a page from Robin and Marion, the old Sean Connery Robin Hood film with Audrey Hepburn. That maybe there was some attraction between your characters that was never acted upon because maybe it was a one-sided. Maybe it was only Corlin, or where your best friend was marrying this woman, and so of course you respected that, but you always kind of resented the fact that you didn't treat her the way that you would treat her if she was your husband, if she was your wife, and then she vanished, and you figured, okay, well then it's all over, and you got over it. But what you might do is think about or that's not it. Some other, maybe you hated each other. Maybe you had some really intense, you hated him because he cheated on your best friend or whatever, but think about some kind of relationship between the two of you that can properly explode when the revelation happens. Also, it's possible that because a lot of you we have two disguised characters, that the secret will get out to one person before it gets out to the group. So it's likely that we may end up with maybe somebody figures out that Benjermin is actually a girl, but then they keep it secret for their own reasons, and they either conspire with Benjermin or they use it against Benjermin as a means of extortion. Right?
I could see that happening at a late night and in town. Maybe catch a glimpse of something that.
I don't know what you do in town.
Well, as Deb pointed out, the obvious way that's going to happen is the first time she takes a wound, right? And she has to go to the doctor, which would be Gary's character. The man.
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping to take care of small wounds myself.
One of the useful things you'll find out. We'll do some combat tonight, but you decide when you take wounds, which is one of the ways this combat system is kind of unusual. So you can actually decide. I don't take wounds. I just get knocked unconscious, but I'm not seriously hurt. You can. I
think I'd rather get hurt than knocked unconscious.
Yeah, or you can be like, well, I'll take the wound so that I can keep fighting, right? Like you can decide kind of what you want to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and since we have so many characters who are so heavily involved in animals here, there might also be the option of seeking more veterinary medical help.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Because Maehna's, I gave Maehna healing, and we invented a specialty for her in veterinary. So, so she's kind of the backup doctor.
Okay.
I've got the starting healing of 2.
Yeah. All right.
I can wrap up a burning stump of an arm just like anyone else.
All right. So as you guys are, who all has horses? Do all the nobles have horses and the common folk don't?
I can't afford a horse.
Maybe.
No. I don't have just luck check, so.
I've been hoarding the book.
Well, if the hedge knight does not have a horse, you can't participate in the joust. But you can.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. I kind of need a horse, so.
Well, you may not be able to afford one. It might be something that you'll have to save up and buy. It would be pretty classic for a hedge knight not to be able to afford a horse, which just means that you can't do the joust, but you can still do the melee. But I think you're really good with horses. You have animal handling that's pretty strong, as I recall. So
right.
Yeah, you'll want to buy a horse as soon as you can. And there's different qualities of horses.
No. No master of arms of mine is not entering a joust.
There you go. See,
I'm trying to find the price. That's what I'm doing.
All right. So the Tanner family is riding along in their horses in this rain, kind of misty rain, as the day begins to fall, and the rest of you are walking. Maehna, you have your falcon. You'll have to decide what name.
Garrett, the horses are on page 135.
Yeah, we're looking at them. Thank you.
Right.
We're looking at a master list,
but as you walk, we have some people who have really good awareness. Who's got I think Genna's got awareness of 4.
I've got awareness of 4 with a bonus die and notice.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay.
4.
And I have danger sense.
And you have danger sense. Can anybody beat Corlin's 4? How many bonus dice do you have in notice?
I have 1 bonus dice.
Okay, so you're 4 plus 1. You're 4 dice plus 1 bonus, right?
Yep.
Anybody beat 4 plus 1?
Nope. Unless it's empathy related, no.
Okay. So
I'm
just
just
remind me how it
paranoid.
works. Go ahead and roll 5 dice. Keep the best 4.
Yeah, I was going to say course. Again,
If anybody else wants to roll, you can. Roll your awareness. And this is the notice specialty.
No, he's fully fledged, so.
I got an 8. Probably not going to do it.
James, how'd you do?
Just a second here.
Okay.
The dice roller I loaded up really quick. I forgot. Doesn't actually do. Here we go.
Or that
So if we have 4 awareness, we're rolling 4 dice, and that's just it.
That's just it. If you don't have bonus dice, you just roll everything and keep everything.
18.
Nice.
13.
Okay.
I rolled crappy.
That's all right. So
22613. Go ahead.
Lady Tanner, your position atop your horse gives you a slightly better vantage point. And you, as you guys are walking on your horses fairly slowly along the trail, and you see a burst of crows take off from near the side of the wood, the side of the road, and you look over towards where they were as they take off, and you see that there's a sort of a shallow gully along the side of the trail, and there are bodies in this gully. You see at least 3 people. One of them looks like a kid.
Very distraught, she shares these observations with the party.
Yikes.
Who would like to investigate?
Corlin?
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to fix my dice roller. Sorry, I got lost there. Yes, I will investigate the dead bodies.
Corlin, as you approach, you realize they're all basically stripped down to just their small clothes.
Okay. And as I go to investigate, I draw my dagger out in my main hand.
Okay.
Make sure I have a weapon out in case somebody is not quite dead or there's some trap or something here.
You trust in your danger sense to alert you. You've been in a lot of tough scrapes, and you've got this 6th sense whenever there's an ambush. But
there's
right
always
now,
an ambush.
Your spider sense is not tingling.
I don't know if I trust my spider sense.
Averting her.
When it goes off, it's always right.
Go ahead, Di.
I was going to say, averting her gaze from the scene, she still calls out to. It's Corlin who's investigating, right?
Yes, I just walked up over there.
She'll ask if possible. If there's any sign of heraldry, what house they might have been from, any kind of indicator of who they may have been.
So what do they look like? So they've been stripped. They're in their small clothes.
Yeah, they're covered in a layer of mud and blood, and they're clearly wounded.
Are they wounded by like animal bites or swords?
I'm sorry. Say again, James.
So does it look like swords, arrows?
Why don't you
bites?
Why don't you roll cunning to determine that?
Cunning.
Yes.
Oh crap. Oh come on. There we go. 4.
Okay. Now, fortunate for you, this is an easy test, which is a 3.
All right.
Succeeded. But the way that tests work is a 3 in this case succeeds. An 8 or better would be succeeding with two successes. Or a 13 would be 3, and so on. So the more successes that you would have, the more information you would get. They clearly have been stripped of all of their goods before they were dumped on the side of the road. Their eye sockets have been eaten out by the crows.
Ew.
And they have, what you notice on them is that they have, like, their clothing has rust stains on it. And to you, this tells you that they wore armor. Before the armor was looted off of their bodies. Their boots, even their boots have been taken.
How many bodies are there? Are any of them female?
There are 3 bodies, all male. from the condition of the bodies, they could not have been dead for much more than a day.
Looks like these. Looks like they were armed. Looks like they might have put up a fight. Somebody stripped them, though. Looks like maybe a day, give or take.
Can we tell which direction they came from or they left when they...
Is there any tracks or anything like that around?
Yeah. You know what? You look around and you're on a trail where it's been raining for hours. You know, like you're surrounded by mud. But you can walk around a little bit and see if you can find anything.
Sure, I do that.
Oh my God.
Well,
is that a survival? Is there a track specialty somewhere?
yes, I have that. I have 3 + 2 in track.
Well, Corlin goes looking around the area for any signs. Anybody else want to do anything?
I'm sticking by the family.
What's the normal course of action in these conditions? Would we bury them? Would we take them to the nearest castle?
That's a very good question. That sounds like to know what customs would be. You might do that with breeding. Roll status.
All right, I got a 12 on my track.
Okay.
15.
Yeah, they should be. Well, you're not in a position to bury them right now. There's no. It would take many hours to bury them, and there's no or gather stones for a cairn. You could, but yeah, something should be done for them. So you could bring them to the inn, or put or come back for them in the morning.
About how far away are we from the inn? I know you said we had a little ways to go.
About another hour or two.
If we take them to the inn, there's a chance somebody there would be able to help us identify them.
That's what I'm thinking. So we're going to load them up and bring them to the inn.
Okay. Corlin, you think you see hoof prints in the mud.
Okay.
Now, there have been a lot of people traveling around here, so it might be nothing, but it might be that they were attacked by somebody on horseback.
All right.
Could we, if it's shod, could we assume noble? If the hoof print is
No, every horse needs to be shod.
Okay.
Okay. I see. So there's hoofprints here, my lord. Hard to tell if they're involved or not, but they're around the same time frame.
Who's lugging the bodies?
I'd probably be helping to load them.
All right, Benjamin. As you walk over and go to grab one of the bodies, it moves.
Okay.
And you realize that this is the kid. He kind of grabs your hand, and you realize that he's not quite dead yet. And he kind of, his eyes open, and he grabs onto your clothing. His grip is very weak. He's covered in blood and mud. You're shocked that he's even still alive. But he kind of grabs your cuff and groans.
I shout out, he's still alive. We need help. And see if I can get
Genna.
Do you know who did this to you? Just gonna try and see if he knows anything, see if he can say anything.
He passes out.
All right, so we're going to see if he needs immediate care, and then bundle him up and take him with us.
Who would be doing that? Would that be Maehna?
Probably.
Well,
Okay.
Genna's gonna call for some water for the boy, and then she'll suggest maybe pulling one of her cloaks out of a trunk that was brought with them for the journey to wrap him in, and she was gonna offer her horse originally to transport the bodies and she was going to walk, but clearly the boy needs to ride with somebody, so either Lord Tanner can hold him while he rides.
Well, one step at a time. Maehna comes up to you, approach the boy, and you try to see to his wounds. He's going to die. He's got a fatal injury. There's nothing to be done for him. But as you try to inspect the wound a little bit, he took a sword to the side, like underneath the ribs, and he's been bleeding internally for hours. But as you probe the wound, he kind of wakes up, and in halting, painful breaths through cracked and bloody lips, he tells you a little bit of a story in his dying breath. His master, and he gestures to the knight, the body next to him, my master Timon, Tymon, and Sir Roderick, and that's the guy next to him. We were going to the tourney. I've never been to a tournament before. There were 4 of them. They ambushed us. My master was unhorsed, and Roderick fought bravely. But I felt something in my side, and then everything went black. Am I going to be all right?
Yes, you will be fine. We will get you safely to the inn.
He looks up at Benjamin. Thank you. Thank you, my lord. See to my master. He was very brave. He's treated me kindly.
We'll see to them.
Thank you. I'm going to sleep. And he closes his eyes and never opens them again.
Aw.
Game of Thrones, ladies and gentlemen.
Release the bodies.
The first casualty of Game of Thrones.
Do we get experience for that guy dying?
Because we can let a lot of people die.
Genna, you are dismounting and preparing to, you put the cloak around the boy and you're hoping to lead him up onto your horse, and then you realize that he's not moving.
I'm sorry, milady. He has passed.
I'm wondering if any of us know who Master Timon is.
These guys were knights. They were traveling from farther east than your lands, so they were not knights of the local area.
Yeah.
But actually, you could roll heraldry. It would be a status heraldry specialty.
So Lord Tanner might know him. I mean, he was a hedge knight and traveled no circuit. If they're old enough.
Yeah. You guys can roll.
Lord Tanner's so old.
So
I got 6.
I don't have heraldry. Can I still roll?
Yeah, you just roll status.
Yeah, having the sub skill just makes you more consistent with the skill,
18.
basically.
18. Yeah, you know him. Yeah, Timon was. You you didn't recognize him because you're up on your horse and he's kind of far away. He's covered in mud, but yeah, you remember Timon. He's an old time knight. He's a veteran of the tournament circuit. His glory days were behind him, but he was good with squires. Hedge knight. But this Roderick, you think he might have been, he's a younger knight, maybe still kind of earning his reputation. But yeah, Timon was a good guy.
Was he well skilled?
He was, but he was getting a little old. He was not as quick and as strong as he used to be in the days of.
I guess what I'm getting at, I would expect him to be able to take on a couple of low.
Okay, good. I see what you're trying to get at.
Yeah, he's there with a knight he's trained and a squire. From
what you can tell, he's the story from the squire was that they were attacked by 4 men.
Right.
They must have been. They were not ordinary bandits. To defeat Roddick and Timon, they were not ordinary bandits.
Maehna is curious about that fact, coupled with the fact that they were so deliberately stripped of the armor, of the heraldry, of everything that would be associated with them on their way to tourney. So what I'm wondering now is if we are going to see, Lord Timon still show up at the tournament.
Right.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Or it could be that somebody needs the armor to enter the tourney because they do not currently have it.
Right. Benjamin knows all about losing your armor in tournaments. So you guys get the body. I think your plan was to take the bodies with you to the inn?
Yes.
Okay. You throw the bodies over Lady Tanner's pony. And
Palfrey. Not that it's a difference, but
no, it matters. Yeah, Palfrey. Palfrey's a very nice riding horse. It's got a very gentle ride. It's beautiful to look at. It's a beautiful riding horse for a gentle woman. And and that means that Lady Tanner is on foot. This is going to ruin your slippers. You'll have to buy new ones.
Well,
she's got a few extra.
My horse and Indian foot.
What was that, Roddick?
Put her on somebody else's horse. They can walk.
There's I think the only other person with a horse is your son.
Great, he can walk and she can.
She wasn't about to order William off his horse, but if William's going to suggest, or if Rickard is going to insist,
I'll tell him.
It's been ordered. It has been commanded. So
all right.
So after some musical horses,
yes,
we party on.
It takes you about another hour or so to reach the inn, and by this time it's getting dark. Especially it is dark, especially after the time that you spent investigating the bodies. And you arrive at the inn. And I put up a little link so you can get an idea of what the inn looks like. It's a three-story inn, very unusual for its size, but it's on the King's Road, one of the most prominent highway north and south in the kingdom. Everybody takes this road, and there's also an east-west road that leads back towards House Tanner and farther lands. So there's there's a lot of traffic here, and this inn makes a very respectable and busy business off of travelers, especially when there's tournaments involved, and there's almost always one somewhere. But it's a welcome sight in the rain. You see a curl of blue-gray smoke coming from the fieldstone chimney, so there's a nice fire in there and probably some warm food and drink. You're all a little tired and perhaps downhearted after your encounter with the corpses, and you can
very thirsty, really thirsty. All that walking. Can we please just? It's a harrowing day.
Build character, sire.
And you arrive in the sort of muddy yard in front of the inn, where your horses are taken by Davin. I'll try to put names in the chat window. Davin is the stabler. Stout lad, and quiet but strong. Takes your horses, and you file into the inn, which is a large common room, where you are welcomed by the heat of a fire, a hearth burning in the back. There's 3 or 4 other people in the inn, and behind the bar is the woman who runs it. Her name is Masha, like Marsha. Masha Needle. Willem, you know Mistress Needle quite well.
Yes.
She gets her name from her habit of insulting barbs thrown at customers when they fail to pay her bill.
I love it.
And then a very pretty servant girl who might have a thing for you, Willem. Or maybe it's just a thing for Benjamin.
Or both.
That's Brenna. She can't decide if she likes them young and rich or older and strong.
Well, remember, I kind of look young too because.
That's right. Well, then young and strong. Young and strong or young and rich? She can't really make up her mind.
Rich. Go for rich.
Go for rich. And you're welcome at the inn.
So I just want to observe and see if anybody's wearing any of the heraldry from.
That would be easy for you to spot, and the answer is no.
Okay.
As you take a look around the inn, you see a few other travelers. There's a guy who looks like he might be a knight or a warrior of some type. He's sitting by the fire, all bundled up, in that classic recovering from a cold sort of pose. He's got a big mug of Mistress Needle's hot tea in front of him. And his name is Corvin. The rest of you filter into the inn. And you also, you're welcomed by an elderly man. His name is Horace. He's a tinker. So he's a sort of a repairman, makes general sort of fix-its to things and places. And you find out that when you guys come in, there's like the door's kind of squeaky, and there's a few other things that need to get fixed around the inn. And Mistress Needle shouts to Horace, "Add that to your list, you good for nothing." He's like, I work and slave for you all day, Mistress Needle. I have to leave soon so I can make it to the tournament. I have a profession. Your profession right now is working off your beer bill.
Can I pull Brenna aside and just kind of
Willem,
out
I didn't expect to see you.
I'm just wondering if if at any point maybe 4 hard-looking types sauntered in here.
No.
At any point in the last day, if you recall.
In the last day? No, there hasn't. Well, there have been many travelers going to the tournament. Are you going to the tournament?
Of course. I wouldn't miss it.
I wish I could go. You will be so magnificent in the joust.
Well, but I'll maybe next time on the joust. But Benjamin, I think, will be representing our house.
Benjamin. Will you be in the joust, Sir Benjamin?
Of course. I will win for. If you give me a favor, I will fight.
Oh, her eyes turn into like little hearts.
Game of Thrones, the anime version.
She, you say that now, but they're actually, I saw today an anime version of the intro for Game of Thrones.
Of course, there is.
Jenny knows what I'm talking about. She can send the link to Garrett. Post it in the comments thread. But anyway,
I want this. I need this in my life.
She like reaches into her bodice and she pulls out this handkerchief. And she very coquettishly passes it over to Sir Benjamin.
I will kiss it and tie it around my arm.
My goodness, she goes all aflutter. See, Deborah realized this. This is the surest way to make sure nobody thinks you're a woman. right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
But when they want to go further, I have another thing I have to do.
How very Tony.
Really, it just breaks my heart, but I must go to look for Willem.
Nice. What was that, Jay?
I said how very Tony Stark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or Bruce Wayne, I guess, right?
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah, Corlin's just already over in a corner, sitting down. His boots are off. He's drying his feet out.
Okay.
Just watching them do their thing.
Do they have a raven?
Now, what was that, Garrett?
Can I send a raven from here?
Well, you could if your master was here, who is your master of ravens.
Ah, okay.
You don't have
I
any
want to
ravens.
contact. I want to contact the people about the bodies.
Well,
Notify where they're from.
right. You'll have to do that when you get back home.
Okay.
They might be at the tournament. We can,
But you see Davin come back in from outside, and he sort of whispers to Mistress Needle, and she says, 4 corpses? You brought 4 dead bodies to my inn.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what we're gonna do with them. They're outside. We've done our part.
I expected the stable boy to notice that a little bit before this.
Well, he noticed it, but he didn't know what to do, so he just came in and told her.
No, I say that out loud.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah, they were attacked on the road, and we brought them with us in hopes we could find someone to take them back to their home.
Well, if you ask me, let the dead take care of themselves. But I understand you're a good, upstanding lord, Master Tanner, and I'm very deeply appreciative of all that you've done for these lands. But now I've got 4 corpses sticking up my barn.
Well, they're not stinking yet.
This is when Genna steps up and kind of makes herself a little bit more known than standing in the background.
Sure.
She pulls out a coin purse that doesn't have to be opened in order to hear how generous this lady might be.
Right.
And she kind of opens her discussion to the rest of the inn, the open room, this Corvin and Horace. And she says, to my most esteemed gentlemen, I am willing to pay off anyone's outstanding bar debts if you would be willing to escort these poor unfortunate souls on a cart back to their house.
We don't know how far that is, right? Like Horace sort of looks up.
Well, wouldn't Lord Tanner know? Because he knows he knows who the
knights.
knight is.
These guys were wandering knights. They're not part of.
Oh. I'm sorry. I missed that as well.
I think we both were under the impression that we knew where they were from.
They're travelers. They're wandering tourney circuit knights.
Then
Right.
I need to redact that entire thing.
Well, do you want to just ask for help burying them or something?
Right.
Yeah, if we know they're transient, then she'll, instead of escorting them home, she'll offer to pay off their debt to bury 4 corpses.
Sure.
How about that?
So this is a good opportunity for us to show how the intrigue rules work. Okay. So you're gonna do an intrigue. Remember that all that means is you're trying to convince somebody of something, or you're trying to bargain for something.
Sweet, I have bonus and bargain. Let's do it.
So this will be there's different levels of intrigue, and we're going to do the simplest one, just a simple intrigue, but this will give you an idea of how it works. Okay. So who is the target of your intrigue? Like, are you talking to Maehna, Needle, the proprietress of the tavern?
Who was Corvin again?
Pardon?
Who was Corvin again?
Corvin is the knight who is recuperating by the fire. He's watching you, but he didn't say anything.
it'll be more addressed to kind of Corvin, Horace, maybe any other patrons, travelers who are in the bar. It was a very open-ended, you know, if they don't have a bar tab to pay off, then she's still willing to compensate them for their time.
Yeah, totally. All right, so let's I honestly don't. I think if you are usually if you're trying to intrigue two people at the same time, it becomes more complicated. But we're gonna try to keep it simple because this is our first time doing it. Okay. So if for those of you that have a book, I'm on about page 141. So we start off by figuring out what your objective are. Your objective is to get one or more people to help take care of these bodies, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're willing to pay for it.
Yes.
Right? So you want to pay as little as possible, but you want to get some labor. Okay. So now I figure out what what everyone's disposition is to everyone else, and these are all listed. They're on page 143, and basically it's a 7-stage scale, with the most affectionate as the first, and the most hated, malicious on the end, with indifferent in the middle. And most of the time, when you first meet somebody, they'll be indifferent to you. Now, what does this matter? Their disposition has 3 effects. First of all, it gives them the equivalent of armor against intrigue attempts, which means the more that they dislike you, the more armor they have against your intrigue. So as an example, Brenna, the serving wench, has no resistance to Sir Roderick or to Sir Benjamin's seduce attempts, right? Because she's already friendly towards him. Secondly, there's a modifier, either a penalty or a bonus, to persuasion or deception attempts, depending on how they feel towards you. And the way this works is that it's harder to lie to someone that likes you, but it's easier to lie to somebody that doesn't like you. And it's harder to persuade people that don't like you because they already don't trust you. They already think you're lying. And it's easier to persuade people that like you. So you can see how those modifiers play out in that little table on the top of 143. Now, what will be beneficial to you guys is when you meet characters, make a little note of how you feel about them, and then that disposition will move over time. And you can do intrigue maneuvers to make it move. So if, for example, you don't know how these guys feel about you, but let's presume that they're indifferent. And let's say that, Lady Tanner, you don't want them to be indifferent to you. You want them to be positively disposed to you. You could do a maneuver in the intrigue that wouldn't get you your goal. It wouldn't contribute any points towards making them do what you want. It would just make them more friendly to you, or make them less friendly to you if that's what you prefer. So I pick the dispositions for the 2 NPCs, and Genna, you pick your disposition towards both of these individuals. And I'm going to presume that it's indifferent, but it doesn't have to be. If you decide that you just don't like the way one of them looks, you know, you can make it dislike, but it's probably indifferent. Does that make sense?
Either indifferent or amiable, because she wants to be, she doesn't want to be friendly in terms of numbers friendly, but she wants to, you know, she's young, she's attractive, she's being sweet, she's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, you can amiable basically means that you presume the best about them. Like, oh, you know, you're probably a good guy. You'll want to help me. You know, like you presume, and that this fits for a young person. You sort of presume that people are good, right? Welcome to Game of Thrones.
Yep. Yep.
All right. So you can absolutely start off as amiable towards both of these people. Okay, then, and that gives you 3 damage resistance against intrigue, and it means that that they have a +1 on persuasion modifiers against you, and no modifier on deception. So if they wanna try to persuade you, they get a little bonus because you already kind of like them. Okay, and then we move straight to the techniques, and I'm on page 146, where you pick what kind of intrigue, what is your approach? What are you trying to use? If we think of this in a combat, you're attacking with a sword or a bow or an axe or a mace, and all of these different means of trying to persuade people. Now, in this case, it's really obvious. You're going to use bargain. So you'll be rolling your persuasion, and you have a bonus dice in bargain, right?
Yes.
So you would roll all of those dice when we get to it. You'll roll all of those dice, and you'll keep a number equal to your persuasion.
Okay.
Now, you'll also do damage to them, and the damage, if you look on bargain, is equal to your cunning. What is your cunning?
3.
Okay. So if you succeed, that's how many points you do to them. Now, remember, the higher you get, that number increases. If you get 2 successes, then you do double damage. If you get 3 successes, you do triple damage, and so on. So a high total means that 3 becomes 6 or 9 or 12, depending on how high you roll. Okay. Now, ordinarily, you would have to wear them completely down. That would be a standard intrigue. But we're going to do a simple intrigue, so all you got to do is do damage to them.
And Jason, the damage is to your composure, right?
That's correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have a composure score. Everyone has a composure score. And that's effectively your intrigue hit points.
Yeah.
And in a standard
And were those
intrigue,
3, was that 3 resist a bonus to that composure?
it acts as if you were wearing armor. You'll see when we play it out.
Okay, got it.
So why don't you go ahead and make your roll. You're going to use bargain on them, and your target number is their intrigue defense. And in this case, it's you don't know what their intrigue defense is. But an average person has like a 6, right? They might be a little bit better, but probably not worse. So it's probably somewhere in the 6 to 8 range for their intrigue defense.
So I have 4 plus 1, so I keep 4, roll 5.
That's correct. Roll 5, keep 4. That's correct.
All right. I'm going to have to do multiple rolls. I've only got 3 dice.
Okay. If someone has an online die roller, you can point her to. That might help.
2 more.
Yeah, I have one.
And
here.
I can keep any 3 that I want, or keep any 4?
Yeah, you could pick the 4 highest.
Okay. That's going to be a 19.
Okay, good. So you got a 19. So against Horus, for example, Horus has an intrigue defense of 8. Okay? And he is indifferent to you. So you beat him. You got an 8 would be a hit, 13 would be 2, and an 18 would be 3 hits. And what did you get?
19.
Okay, so you did 3 times your cunning in damage. You got effectively 3 successes. So that's 9 damage. He has armor of 4 because he's indifferent to you. So that 9 becomes 5. Note that if you hadn't scored at least an 8, you wouldn't have done enough damage to penetrate his armor.
Okay, you said I'm a little confused. Did she roll her persuasion, but she did cunning and damage?
Yes, and that's because of the technique she chose.
Oh, right. Okay, right.
The bargaining.
Yep, bargain does cunning. Basically, like the smarter you are, that's how you can bargain. That represents your ability to cut a good deal, right? So in this case, you did 9 minus 4 means he takes 5. Now, Horus's composure is 8. So in theory, he still has 3 points left, but he will concede at this point and agree to do it.
Now, would money improve her roll?
Well, what happens is you look at her goal. If you look at the maneuver that she picked, bargain. Let me find that. It shows what happens if she succeeds.
Right, but I was wondering if 100 stags versus 500 stags would influence her. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, the trick is how much is she actually willing to spend?
Well, yeah.
So if she wagers 100, if she is using 100 stags and she loses it all, that would reflect a poor roll. But if she is able to get the deal that she wants for less money, that would be a good roll. She can show that she has tons of money, but the trick is how much of it does she actually have to spend?
Right.
Yeah.
Could I use a fixed number to just get what I want or to improve my roll?
I think it would still be bargain.
Yeah, I think the idea is that you'd still roll bargain just to determine how much money you spent.
Yeah, but
right? It's just not a quick. If you fail the bargain, you don't get what you want. It just be more expensive.
Right.
If I'm looking at the rules right, then it doesn't really matter. The point is you have to make them like you more to pay less, and having more gold doesn't really make them like you more.
Well, but I see Garrett's point, which is basically in this case, what that we were represented by would be either their starting demeanor would improve. You would show them, and there's a condition table. There's a little thing in I'm looking on page 145, where if there's things that people know about you can influence their starting demeanor, and if they know that you're rich and you're offering a lot of money, you could just get one step up on that.
Because, you know, money seemed to be really important.
Yeah.
Also, we're paying a guy to do a job.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And what you would do is the mechanics of this how this would work mechanically is that if you have a lot of money and they know that you have a lot of money, they would go from indifference to friendly or amiable. And as a result of that, you would have they would have less armor against your attack. You would get more bonuses to persuade them, and you would end up spending less money when you actually do complete the intrigue.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, so in this case, as I say, we're just going to do one. We just do one quick roll, but you can kind of see how it worked. He took 5 points out of his intrigue defensive 8. He would still be holding out, and in theory, we could do another round where you could do it again, or you could pick another tactic if you want. And there's a number of different maneuvers that you can use. If you look on, we were talking about the techniques, but on page 149 is all the list of the various actions that you can do in an intrigue, including not only persuade, or influence, which is what you were doing. You were just trying to get your deal. There's also ways for other characters to help you out. Like, so for example, if you're in an intrigue and Willem decides to like chip in to help you, he could do the assist action, which would help you in your intrigue. Or you might decide that before you attack again, you might want to read your target to figure out how he actually feels about you, and in which case I would tell you what his demeanor is.
Okay.
There's all kinds of other options. You can even heal composure damage. If somebody from the group, for example, if let's say that you're in an intrigue and Willem, you can see that Genna is losing her composure. She's getting frustrated or getting angry. You can use the mollify action to give her back composure points.
Question for you, Jason.
Yes.
So I took Cautious Diplomacy, which says retain bonus dice from consider action during intrigues.
Good,
Now,
yeah.
I get the consider action, I get the bonus dice from consider. When it says retain, does that mean all future intrigue tests retain those bonus dice? Like, actually, every roll thereafter, I get bonus dice.
Wait, not exceed your. Once you roll a test and use these bonus dice, excess bonus dice are lost. Okay, let's look at the ability that you bought. It's called Cautious Diplomat.
Cautious Diplomacy. Close enough.
Cautious Diplomat. Whenever you take the consider action during an intrigue, the bonus dice gained can exceed the normal limits on bonus dice. In addition, you retain these dice until the end of the intrigue. Yes. The bonus dice that you get from considering, and that would always be like your first action in an intrigue. You would consider.
Yep.
And then when you consider, you'll get a bunch of bonus dice, and then you get to use those bonus dice on every subsequent round of the intrigue until it ends.
Okay.
So it's big.
My Vanishing Nun trick.
Yes, exactly. You're banishing none.
So we're still on my land, right?
No, you are not.
Okay.
The Inn at the Crossroads is not on Tannerland.
Yet.
Yet.
Right. Anyway, so Horace, did I get that right? Horace, yeah. Yeah, Horace, like, happy to be of service, my lady. And you end up paying him, you know, a nominal fee. I don't know how much it would be, but you got a good deal. Because you succeed on your bargain, you would pay him less than expected.
Really, if it's just the one guy, 1 gold dragon is more than sufficient.
Oh no, you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay him gold.
No, a gold dragon is a lot of money.
Yeah, gold dragon.
A gold dragon is like you know, a good sword or expensive piece of equipment is.
On the other hand,
she was willing to do it, and then she'd kind of have a friend for life. Like they'd have a friend for the tournament.
You can give him a gold dragon if you want. You can do whatever you want. It is your money.
And, you know, if the Tanners are known for generosity, I mean, what Frey is known for generosity? Like, the one with the Tanners. Let's build this house's reputation.
Crossroads is not a stupid thing to do.
So she's gonna not be shy about making a show of handing over one full gold dragon to do what she's asked and is paying good money for.
Ordinarily, if you were like shopping for stuff right now, if you were like bargained to get a good price on a suit of armor or a horse, you would have gotten, because he starts off indifferent, you would have gotten your deal at a small discount. Like your cunning is 3, you would have got like a 6% discount, which is not a lot. What you would want to do if you want to get it for a lot less money or even for free is you would use your action to improve his demeanor first, and then you would do the composure damage. If he is amiable or friendly or affectionate, that progressively reduces the amount of money that you actually have to spend until you get what you want for free. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so that's an intrigue. That's the basic mechanics of intrigue. Corvin does not take your money.
Sweet.
Wait, so she convinced him, but he refused payment.
But no, he's going to do it.
Corvin did not participate in the intrigue.
Okay.
He basically kept his mouth shut and didn't say anything.
What's with this guy? He's kind of ruining the mood in the bar here. I mean, we've got 4 dead bodies outside, but I like...
He's very Strider right now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's sitting by the fireplace with a big mug of tea and a blanket.
Tea?
He kind of coughs.
Well, Genna thanks Horace and works with Masha to, you know, get rooms for the household and food and drink for the household. She starts seeing to their comforts.
Roll your bargain again.
No, Corvin was
okay.
A night that was like
164. Let's drop that. 164. 24. That's going to be a 16.
Okay.
What?
I wonder how much money it costs to stay at an inn for a night.
I don't think that's addressed anywhere in the equipment.
I'll look it up another time. I see something that has goods and services, but it doesn't have like stay in price. I'll worry about another night.
Well, it probably depends on the inn and how it's going to be, or expensive it's going to be. So
yeah. All right. You negotiate, and you get a small discount. You get like a 5% discount because she is indifferent to you. But you're a good bargainer, and you negotiate for what? How many? Like, how do you? What? Since you're the negotiator, what are the room conditions for your party?
The best room she has available for the Lord and herself.
Yep.
And then let's say 2 of the next best rooms for the rest of her staff, plus food and drink at their needs.
What about your son?
Staff.
Oh. Yeah, we'll get him. Well,
he's always forgetting.
He's in the stable. What? No. All right. So
I've
another.
done it before.
If there's 2 nice rooms, then 2 nice rooms. Obviously, the next best room for William, and then whatever's left over for the staff. She leaves it to Masha's.
All right. So,
experience.
Probably Benjermin and Corlin share a room.
Yep.
And then Maehna, you have a small little room for you and off to the under the stairs. You get the wizard's closet.
Maehna is going to get a drink from the bar and then go sit down next to Corwin in front of the fireplace.
Okay. He looks over at you, nods. Tough night for travel.
Better than some.
Going to the tournament then.
I am. You?
Oh, I've got to recover from this sickness. No jousting for me. And you're part of the noble's retinue there, are you? You notice he doesn't look at your face. He's got that look, where like they constantly don't look at your face. You've seen it a million times.
I'm with House Tanner. Yes.
Oh, Tanner, right? That's it. Yeah, House Tanner.
And you?
No, just a sell sword. Not selling much sword right now, though.
Oh, it sounds like a bad cough. How long have you had that?
Oh, a few days. It'll pass. What would you like to do?
Just gonna keep sitting.
Okay. If you want to try to get some sort of feeling for him, we can actually do that as an intrigue. You can use the...
All right, let's try it.
There's a maneuver where you can try to figure out what his disposition is towards you, for example. Or if you want to try to get him to reveal something, or whatever you want.
I'll just try and get him to just kind of open up and talk.
He seems really kind of... He does not desire to talk. That's not hard to figure out. He doesn't particularly want to talk. He mostly, in fact, eventually after you try and start a conversation a few times, he starts sort of warning you like, oh, you really shouldn't be too close to me with this cold. Coughing in that way that is trying to tell people to back off. Yeah.
All right. I'll try the intrigue to kind of suss out a disposition then.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So so the maneuver that you're doing is read target. You make an awareness test against his passive deception, and passive scores is basically 4 times the number of dice he has. And if you get that or better, you learn the target's current disposition.
Excellent. So awareness, I have is 3. So again, noob question. Which dice am I rolling?
This is a only die 6 game.
Okay, excellent.
Roll 3 die 6 and add the total.
Yeah. All right, so I have a total of 9.
Okay. Well, you let's see. You can't really get a read on him. In other words, you didn't hit his passive deception, which is higher than, which means he has deception higher than 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right. While you're doing that, he's going to try to intrigue you to go away. And he will use he's going to use deception and try to convince you that he's sick and you should really leave his presence for your own good. So that's going to be convince. So he's going to roll. You know what your intrigue defense is?
Yes.
It's on that.
Intrigue defense of 8.
Okay, awesome. I gotta get my old-fashioned dice here.
That's a bad sound for the enemy to be rolling.
Why are they rolling dice like they're in a champions game?
Yeah.
I was thinking exalted, but same diff.
All right. Let's see what he got. All right. So your intrigue defense is 8. He hit that. And he is going to do. What's your demeanor towards him?
Neutral.
Okay. Indifferent. Okay.
Yep.
4. He tries to convince you that he's really sick, but your he doesn't get past your armor effectively. Like he can't. He does 4 damage, and you have 4 points of armor for your indifferent demeanor. So he tries to convince you that he's sick, and it doesn't work. You don't take any damage, any composure damage. That's one round. You can keep going.
Yeah.
You actually got a bonus because you did the read target. So if you wanted to keep going, you would get a +1 die on deception or persuasion tests if you wanted to keep.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, please.
If you want, maybe you could see if he's using his sickness to cover for a wound he may have gotten, say, yesterday on the road.
But wouldn't the bodies had only been there for a couple hours, right?
They've been there. They've been there for no more than a day. That's all you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
a day, but it could have been a full day ago. It could have been 4 or 5 hours ago, something like that. It's not like they hadn't been there for an hour.
Right.
They've been there for a while.
Long enough for crows to eat their eyes.
That's like 20 minutes, man. Crows are greedy.
If you're lucky. No, yeah, I can definitely try and suss that out.
Okay, so you want to try to get him to like admit, you want to try and trip him up so that he says something that gives some indication of where he's been, or if you just want to know if he's hurt. That might just be, you might just be looking at him. You know.
I was gonna say that would be more of observation.
Yeah, exactly. If
yeah.
you want, you can roll your heal to see if you think he's injured or sick. I mean, you could probably use heal just to determine if he's sick, right?
Yeah, let me do that. So that's another 3. And so I don't get the bonus on that then, because I'm
not for an intrigue. No.
Okay. All right.
You want to persuade him of something, or if you want to lie to him about something and get him to do something for you.
Huh.
Yeah, I'll just try and see if he's actually sick.
Okay.
12.
12. Okay. No, it's totally faking. Also, you don't think he's injured.
Okay.
He's not injured. He's not sick.
Okay. I'm gonna try to.
I'm sick.
And he's sandbagging to make wagers in the tournament.
Yeah, so I'll try to intrigue again to get him to open up a little bit.
Okay.
Because he said he was recovering from an injury. So
From an illness.
If he's not ill or injured, then he's still lying about something.
He didn't say injury, but he said illness. But he's not actually sick. That's what Maehna is able to conclude.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if he's just sandbagging to do some wagering in the tournament.
What would you want to try to get him to open up?
Mm-hmm.
He just gets up and walks upstairs.
Retreat.
Yeah, which you can do. That you can get out of the intrigue if you just.
It's the face.
Bail.
The face.
So I hope you guys kind of see an idea of how the intrigue works. Like there's a lot of options, and you have a lot of things you can do with it, and you have a lot of different approaches. And so it probably seems really confusing right now, but if you have a chance, kind of look at it again and keep trying it, and you'll see kind of how the pieces all fit together. And it's designed to give the non-combat a lot of non-combat options in the sort of social arena. And
it looks like the rules are very similar to how actual combat works.
Which is by design.
Just the outcomes are different.
Yes, exactly.
The rolling mechanics and the bonuses and penalty mechanics are basically all the same.
Right. Correct. And this also continues when you do the warfare subsystem, right? So the idea is that if you learn how to resolve actions, you know the basics.
Yeah, it's basically figure out what the target you're going for is.
Yeah.
Choose a maneuver of some kind.
Right.
That's going to pick which skills you use.
Yes.
You roll those skills. You keep a certain number of dice depending on penalties and bonus dice.
Right.
You compare that to the target, and then you get, for every increment of 5,
Yep.
you're more successful over it.
Correct.
In combat, that's more damage, basically.
Yep.
You get a damage multiplier.
Yep.
And so on.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Let's move on. So you guys you got some help from Horace to bury the bodies. Did you want that done now, tonight, or did you gonna have Horace do it in the morning? This is on Lady Tanner.
Well, now means less gold to Maehna for the corpses being stored somewhere overnight.
Well, right now they're in the barn. I mean, Horace will do it now if you want him to do it now, or he'll wait until morning and he'll do it then.
When are people traditionally buried in this culture? Are they buried during the day, or
I
like
think
what
it's
would be
just
a respectful time?
I think
it's as soon as possible, really.
I'm gonna say it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Genna will slip Maehna a few extra silver stags, and he can do it in the morning.
Okay, great. So everybody retires for the night.
Yep.
When I say everybody, I mean the NPCs. Horace, Corvin's already left. Eventually, Brenna and Davin are allowed to go to bed, and the bar closes. Anybody have plans that night for anything frisky?
I plan to sleep, probably noisily, and basically hit the sack and go to bed as soon as my lord and his son are done with me for the trip.
Benjermin, like Corvin, snores like a lumberjack. Right?
Well, yeah, I'm an old man from the field. I basically, as soon as there's like go up to the room, it's like I'm stripped half naked and into the sheets and asleep without another word.
Yeah.
So when is this tournament? Is it days away, or was it like the next day? What?
It's a few days away. Actually, no, we'll say that you'll get there at the end of tomorrow's journey. If you set out in the morning, you'll get there tomorrow.
You know what? I'm gonna go sleep in the stable.
Nice. Okay. You can't sleep with the snoring. All right. So you go off to the stable.
And that way
works every time.
It's either that or smother them, and I don't think they'd really like me to do that. So
that's the other thing that works every time.
Anybody else?
I'm curious about this grumpy knight guy.
Yeah.
I'm wondering. So his room is near our room.
Sure.
Actually,
no. Your rooms are on the top floor. His is on the second floor.
I might just wander down there, or at least on my way up.
Okay.
I might wander by his room and see if I can hear anything.
When you wander up to your room to go to bed for the night, you can see candlelight underneath the door, and you listen a little bit, and you can tell that he is in there.
And he's still awake, seems?
Yeah.
I wish I was sneaky.
Yeah. Spend some XP on it.
Maehna is going to still hang out at the bar a little bit, maybe have another drink and see if anybody else wanders down.
Yeah, okay. All right, so you eventually Masha, Mistress Needle, she goes to bed. She leaves a bottle of ale out for you, and clean up when you're done, mistress. And she blows out the candle and goes to bed. So you're down there by yourself.
Yep, just waiting to see if anybody else.
Yep, gotcha.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I'm going to bed.
All right.
Genna went to bed.
Corlin. Keep getting your name wrong.
I tried to make it as hard as possible.
Yeah. How are you? Like one of those guys that never wakes up? No, you have danger sense. Oh, but
I have danger sense. I fall asleep hard, and then as soon as anything, I'm coming up knife first. Anything that startles me awake.
Okay. All right. So you're like fast asleep, snoring, and suddenly you wake up startled out of sleep with a knife in your hand, and you realize there's a very gentle rapping at your door.
I turn to see if. Oh man, I forgot Deb's character name.
Benjamin.
Benjamin. If Benjamin's awake and hearing the noise.
Benjamin's not in the room.
Oh.
Looks like
do I have any sense of time?
That's the middle of the night.
It's the middle of the night. So wee hours of the morning, kind of middle of the night thing.
Probably more like 11 or midnight.
Okay. All right. I hold the dagger, go up to the door, and go, who the bloody hell is it?
You hear running.
Running? I throw the door open.
You see the backside of Brenna the serving wench as she runs downstairs.
Wondering about that.
Hey.
Okay. Meanwhile,
where's Benjamin?
You snore. You snore.
Yeah, I know, but if the serving wench is here and Benjamin's not here, then where's Benjamin?
And he went somewhere looking for someplace where he could sleep.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
I want to let you use the room.
Maehna, will you give me an awareness test?
Let's see.
I would never put an old guy out in the streets.
Awareness test 10.
Okay, if you have, let's see, what are the specialties? I got to learn these specialties. It's going to be my bane here, I can tell. Notice. If you have notice as a specialty, you can add that.
I don't.
Okay, so what was your total?
10.
Okay. All right. You're down there, keeping your mouth shut, keeping quiet, drinking your mead, and you realize that someone is quietly, not like, in classic thief pose, but someone is very quietly descending the stairs into the common room.
All right, so the way the stairs are set up, can I see them, or is that like separate?
Right now, you just see their shadow because there's no light really. So you just see their black outline as they step in front of like a window, and it looks like probably somebody fairly big, like a man. Not one of the girls. It's not the serving wench.
Okay. Am I in a position where I can like slip down like behind the bar or something without them seeing me?
Roll stealth. Roll stealth.
Sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay. 11.
Okay. Yeah, you do that. You slip down around the corner of the bar, and you watch as Corvin walks right past you to the door, looks around a little bit, opens the door a little bit, looks outside, then slips out the door, closes it behind him.
All right. I'll follow him.
Okay. Well, it's 9 o'clock. That's like a good cliffhanger.
Excellent.
Right. All right. So we'll pick up from there next game. I know we have 2-hour sessions, so it takes a couple of sessions to do stuff, but we'll jump right back in there next time as Maehna follows Corvin away from the inn. Anybody else?
Just for the stables. Do they have like an upper area where the hay is kept and all that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Okay. So that's probably where I would be up on the...
Yeah, why don't you, in fact, since you've already brought it up, why don't you roll your awareness, or your alertness, I'm sorry. It's alertness. What is alertness? It says alertness. Is that awareness?
No, there's I guess.
Is there an alertness and an awareness? I'm asking a stupid question here. I hope nobody's testing the others.
I don't see alertness.
I don't know if alert is a specialty of awareness, but I don't think it is.
Right. Okay, so let's presume they mean awareness. Why don't you roll your awareness? And if you have noticed, you can add that.
7.
Okay. So, Maehna, you follow Corvin to the stable where you see him get a horse ready. But, Benjermin, you're asleep and don't notice.
Okay.
But we'll stop there so that if Maehna wants to do something with the sleeping Benjermin, she can. Okay? But for the moment, we'll stop there. But you can see him getting the horse ready like he's going to ride out. And Benjamin's not waking up. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Anybody else? Okay, we did intrigue tonight. We'll do probably combat, traditional combat next time.
Sounds good.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording, but that's just so that people don't have to hear me gossip about my job search and Trump. If anyone has any questions for me, we'll just stay on the line. Okay? And if you're watching, listening, next episode next week.